Yeah, it's really cool. I've obviously totally indebted to him, and he gave me my start. And I remember him saying, when I asked him, why did you just, so easily help someone out? And he said, because I wish somebody would have done the same for myself, years ago.
Welcome to The Standard. My name's Rhett Weaver. The idea behind this project is where average people have raised their standards. We're going to show you the blueprint. Let's do this. Welcome to another episode of The Standard. I'm your host, Rhett Weaver. I'm actually genuinely excited about this one. I've known Kim for quite a long time. She's the owner of Lift over at Farmington Station. The gym is always popping. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into the gym here in a little bit. Personal training, kind of the whole fitness side of the stuff. So thanks for taking time today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I kind of the whole gist of this podcast is I just want to genuinely help people understand business owners, business mindset, where they grew up, where they came from, kind of how life played itself out to get to the position that you're sitting in right now. So I guess to kind of start this one out, where did you grow up? What was life like growing up for you? Kind of walk us through some of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it was my growing up. I don't think it was anything special to get me where I am today.
Yeah.
I think I had really great parents that embedded within me to the drive that I have, look for opportunities, work hard, work your ass off. My parents were disciplined. They disciplined me, and all those things that maybe I hated then, I love now.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of made me who I am. So yeah, I had a really good childhood though. Like I said, it wasn't nothing crazy special. We grew up 20 minutes north of here. Just normal.
No, I think it's awesome. And I guess my question to you is as far as growing up, did you play sports? Did you do that whole side of stuff? What was that like going through junior high school, kind of all that stuff?
Yes, I was always super, super active.
Yeah.
I got into tumbling super early,
Love it.
age 5 or 6, I think.
Which I feel like all girls do.
Yeah, something, right? Yeah, I know it was dance, tumbling, what do I do? But tumbling for sure, I think my parents put me into tumbling because I was super, super active. They're we need to do something with your energy.
Yep.
So fell in love with it immediately. I think I stayed within, maybe 10 years. Stayed with that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And your parents probably spent a buttload of money on it.
Totally.
I got 3 little girls, and trust me, we're spending out the wazoo for outfits, for everything else. What I'm saying?
And I'm sure it's more expensive now than it was then. But it was fun. I did competitions.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, and I think that teaches you a lot. You know what I'm saying? My oldest is 8 right now. I think the thing that I love about her is that's been her passion so far. And she genuinely gets super excited about it. And the way that I look at it from a parenting standpoint is it's almost like a big confidence factor for her. She's good at what she's doing. She enjoys doing it, which is really allowing her to expand her personality and be super confident kind of in that area.
Yeah, you get that feedback as a kid, oh, you're doing something good.
Correct.
You get that praise, yeah, I remember that.
Correct.
I remember loving what I did and I was good at it too.
Love it. Were you kind of into sports and stuff, kind of going through childhood, or was it just mostly
I tried everything.
Straight dance?
No, I tried everything.
Loved it.
Softball, soccer, baseball.
Yeah.
Swimming. We had a pool in the backyard. So yeah, it was
just a ton
everything.
of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to me going through high school, kind of getting out of high school and stuff like that. Was it something hey, I'm going to college, I want to learn all about the macro fitness world, or was that something where you're just kind of stumbled into it?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. So I knew I wanted to go to college. I'm the first one in my entire family to go to college.
Yep.
So I don't know if that was kind of a drive in itself.
Yep.
But yeah, I knew I wanted to, but I didn't know what for.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, I got a job as a gymnastics coach.
Cool.
So that was kind of my out of high school gig. I actually worked at a 7-Eleven. Just kidding. At the age of 14.
Did you really?
Yes, my aunt owned one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me you've got a good story from 7-Eleven.
Oh my gosh, so many good stories. And I learned so much from there. Customer service.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess talk about 7-Eleven because I think that's genuinely very interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I worked there for 10 years, which is insane, but it's really so cool. It was the best first job, worked a couple hours a week. Again, age 14 to even 17, just a couple hours a week. And then as I graduated, my aunt actually promoted me to assistant manager, which was awesome. I got to take care of the whole store. And I think that's where my managerial and those skills really came from.
Do you feel like that helped you mature pretty quick?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're probably dealing with a lot of upset clients that
Yeah,
aren't getting their
totally.
correct Slurpees or something like
Yeah,
that.
you
know
learn
what
how
I'm
to
saying?
behave and take on a ton of responsibility. It's cool.
Kind of, I guess, for like either parents that have kids that age, or, you know, if you're listening and obviously are around that age, like, what would you highly suggest for people that are working at somewhere like 7-Eleven, where it's like, hey, I know this is just a period of my life where it helps me get through college, or it helps me kind of learn what I got to learn. How did you have the mindset of like learning something from that experience versus just showing up and being upset that you just like had to work the counter or something?
It's so true. I think that's so good, like to put yourself in that mindset. But I don't know exactly where that came from for me.
Was it a little bit that like your aunt owned the place, so you almost felt like
maybe
I gotta take care of this
like the
thing?
pride of it.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And I think like having the job, like it was like a plus for me. Like I had my own money, right?
Yeah.
Like I could do things. So maybe the pride thing slightly. But I what you asked, like if parents could tell their kids anything, like your first job, take advantage of learning all those things.
Yeah.
Like rather than, like you said, just coming in and doing the job
Correct.
and sitting around on your cell phone or something, like take what you can from it, because that will carry you like so far.
And I think the hard part about that age, right, is it's like, that's just a moneymaker. Like I just need some money on the weekend to hang out with my friends. It's not really looked at as like, I'm going to go learn about life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally. You have to think of that.
Skills.
Yeah.
And so like, I guess where you're at now with kind of running the gym, kind of doing your own thing app-wise in the whole fitness world, like looking back at 7-Eleven, like what's the one takeaway you would say, like, this is what I learned. Like this was the best part of being at 7-Eleven.
The people. And that's the same thing for here too. It's like having those conversations, getting to know people, because I think that's where opportunities arise.
Dive into that. You say an opportunity, like as far as networking, like what do you mean by that?
I think all of the things, like getting to know someone, like how do you work? Like how do you tick, right? And just like listening to how people talk and where they came from and their own habits. And it's so interesting to me. So like, that's what I mean with opportunity. And not maybe like as a selfish thing, like what can you do for me? But maybe like more just a learning aspect.
Yeah. Well, you're barking at my own tree. This is why we're doing the interview. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get to know Kim. You know, and don't get me wrong. I mean, like I genuinely believe the same thing. Unfortunately, like I kind of feel like when I was that age, like I had a job and my uncle was running the company and he acted like we could be promoted pretty quick. There was no way in this call center we were getting promoted, you know? So it almost turned to like one of those things where it's like, this job sucks. I need to move on because there's nothing that I'm going to learn from this other than some lady yelling at me that I don't take enough inbound phone calls, you know, that a job that I just don't care about, you know, whatsoever.
Well, hopefully you learned something from it.
I know, right? Which is probably showing up on time.
Yeah.
But
showing up on time.
Yeah, bingo. That was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But kind of going through, you know, the 7-Eleven years, like where did you go to college? What did you want to minor in? What did you end up like majoring in? And what was college like for you?
I wanted to go to college, but I wasn't sure like timing wise. So like I mentioned, I started as a gymnastics coach. I was there for almost like a year and a half before my manager mentioned like, hey, you should get your personal training certification. Like you're doing a ton here with fitness related things, like getting to know how the body works. Like I think that could be beneficial for you. So it was like, oh yeah, like I didn't even question it. It was like, yes, I'm loving this so much and this is an opportunity for me to advance, then I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So like literally, I think it was immediately that I inquired about like, how do I get my certification? And so studied to get that. And then it was actually after I got my certification that I was like, okay, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to college to pursue this.
Yeah. What's funny to me, Kim, is like everybody that we meet with, every business owner, everybody that's like in the self-employed world kind of doing their own thing or working for somebody. What's funny to me, Kim, is like it's all because they knew somebody. Like it's almost like they got introduced to it from somebody in their sphere, somebody that's around them. Like I'm yet to meet with somebody where it's like, ever since I was a little kid, like I was just going to be a fireman and that's it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I became one.
Yeah.
And so like, I think what I tell everybody, I think in every podcast that we do, it's just crazy to me that it's like everybody grows up and they like think like, well, what am I going to do for a job? Where can I find a job? How am I going to be successful? And it almost seems like everybody was like, as you just told me, it's somebody that they've known. It's somebody that's introduced them to that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I think I can be good at that.
Yeah, like they almost light the path for you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, this is how you do it.
Yeah. And so, like, when that particular person said that to you, was it just like, hey, I think I'm going to love this? Like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life? That's
100%.
Crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Although, I mean, it was still kind of murky because when I got into college, I went to the University of Utah for my bachelor's in exercise sports science.
Yep.
I thought medical. Like, maybe I was going to be a doctor, nurse, kind of explored all of those.
Yeah.
And then it was like literally right after I graduated that the opportunity to purchase the gym came up.
Yeah.
And I do remember, actually, after I got certified, I was like, I'm never going to work in a gym, which is crazy because I thought I wanted to go the medical route,
Yep.
Office or even like sports and conditioning training, something like that, maybe with athletes. And then I got my first job at the gym. And then even at the gym that I worked at very first, I said to myself, I'll never own a gym.
Yep.
So I do remember saying that, but it's funny where life takes you.
Yeah. Did you ever do any personal training as you were going to school, or was it something that you only did after college?
Yeah. So I got my certification first.
Yep.
And I personal trained like through my entire college.
And where did you do that at?
Performax in Clearfield.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Everybody went to Performax, I
Everyone-
feel like, for
yeah.
a minute. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
it was
That was
the
the gym
best.
for a minute.
Yes.
I guess talk to me on that experience, like going to college full time, obviously you kind of have a direction on where you're headed, working full time. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was your balance like in life, and like, what was the upside to doing that? What's the complete downside, the hard thing? Because I think a lot of people struggle to work while they go to school, but there's a lot of people like yourself that like, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to gain experience. I guess give me like a positive of doing that and a negative of like, not necessarily a negative, but what was hard for you?
Yeah, I'm grateful because my parents let me stay at home. I think I was home till like
Which is
age
huge.
23. Oh yeah, huge. But I was living in West Haven at the time with my parents. I was driving all the way to the U. So it was 30 to hour drive sometimes. So yes, grateful that I was able to stay there. My aunt let me stay on at 7-Eleven, and I was personal training and going to school. But you kind of have to do those things, like to pay the bills and make life work a little bit.
How did you even get hired at Performax? Like, is it just something that like they had a need and an open spot for it, or was it like, hey, I knew somebody that got me in, or like, no, I busted my butt and I like knew exactly what I was doing.
Knew somebody.
So
Yeah,
fresh
somebody,
out of the gates,
yeah,
no idea.
somebody messaged like, hey, they're hiring here. I'm like, no. Like I said, I wasn't doing the gym thing.
Yeah.
Not doing the gym thing. But I interviewed and I was like, okay, this sounds good.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Even for the time being, I was like, I'm not going to stay forever. Like this could just be for now.
I know. And I think the one thing that I appreciate about your parents, because my parents are the same. Like when 18 years old knocked on the door, they were like, get out of my basement.
Yeah.
Like, time to move on in life. Sometimes when I look back at it, my mom probably should have, because it would have got me moving a little bit quicker, a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But genuinely, like the reason I was able to, and I would assume you're probably going to say the same thing, really go try something and fail is because like you genuinely didn't have that many bills and you really didn't have that much to like really risk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like life is different now. There's a lot on the table that you're risking. And so it just gave you an opportunity to go test the waters. And I think like that's so big for parents. You got one or two decisions to kind of make, and it's either like, are you going to elevate and push your child and get them out of the house?
Yeah.
Which then creates overhead and they can't have that many risks in life, or do you let them kind of stay at home and kind of hope they figure themselves out?
Yeah. You don't want to kick them out too soon because what if they came back?
I know, right? I know.
Yeah. I think they supported my drive a lot.
Yeah.
And, age 23, I think my mom was getting a little antsy, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. But do you feel like your parents too, like saw that you were actually working, going to school, stuff like that, and understood like, hey, at least you're doing something.
Yeah,
you're not just
thrilled.
sitting down in the basement doing nothing.
Yep. Yeah, they were thrilled about it.
How many years were you at Performax?
Okay, I was there for 5.
Yeah. And what was it like?
It was great.
Yeah.
Like, I think, again, the people make it. I loved my job.
Yep.
Loved personal training. Still love it. Loved all my clients, getting to know everybody. And it's like, let's go hang out at the gym every day.
Yep.
And that's what I do now, too.
That's awesome.
Kind of.
And at what point were you like, did an opportunity open up at the gym at that time? Or was it something where you were just like, hey, I really want to make a pivot. I don't really want to work at this place anymore. How did you make that transition from one job to the next? And what was the benefit of that?
Yeah. I mean, as we know, Performax did go out of business. And I think, during my last year there, I just had that sense like maybe I should move on. Yep. Yeah. And again, opportunity arose. Someone mentioned, hey, there's a new gym coming to Farmington. So I applied, got the position. Yeah, and here we are. It's crazy.
I know. How long were you working here at the gym before you decided, obviously I know Kathy very well, but before she decided to end up selling the gym, like how long were you here before that?
Yeah. So they were open for a full 5 years, and I was here for the full 5 years.
Yeah. And then the opportunity came knocking.
Yes. Yeah. They told me they were closing. It was like May of 2017, I believe. And at the time I had a full load of clients.
Yep.
It was awesome. Probably the busiest I've ever been.
Yep.
And I sincerely was enjoying my time here.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like world comes crashing down, like,
Yep.
hey, we're done at the end of the year. You got like kind of 6 months to figure it out.
Yep.
At the time, my husband and I were just building our house, and I thought, oh, I'll just take all my clients in home. We're really close.
Yep.
That's what we'll do. And then honestly, it was like an epiphany in the night. Like, well, what's going to happen to all these people that come here?
Yep.
I had made so many good friends. I mean, 5 years somewhere, you get to know people.
Yep.
You get comfortable. So yeah, it was really like, well, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And it was like that next week, I called the leasing office and here we are.
Space.
It's crazy.
I think what's cool though is like this happens to a lot of people. You saw something that was coming to an end and then it created this opportunity. Because a lot of times, and hopefully you'll kind of say this with me, but a lot of times like we don't look for the opportunity to expand, own a gym until like the oh crap mode kind of hits us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
True.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Make or break.
Yeah. And it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I guess with calling the leasing office and just deciding like, hey, I'm going to take this over. You know what I'm saying? Like what was essentially acquiring in the gym? What did that look like for you? And you don't have to get into like the exact finances,
Sure.
but there's a lot of equipment and a lot of nice equipment. So I'm sure there's a ton of overhead here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
So,
it's very expensive.
like when you decided, obviously you probably had to look at like a profit and loss. You probably had to realize like, hey, how much money's coming in? What's my loan going to be? If there was a loan on this particular building plus the lease that comes onto this.
Yeah.
Like how long did it take you to actually look at that stuff and understand it, to understand like, hey, this is probably a good move? And at the same time, like, hey, this could be a huge risk and we could probably lose it all.
Yes. I think I had those feelings like minute to minute, flipping back and forth. And I remember the process like happening so quickly. I did get one investor in the process, a good friend of mine. And, him and I looked at everything and was like a yes, like you could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what was that conversation like with somebody like that? Like, how do you even start that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to go start a gym, let's just say I wanted to go start a gym, right? Obviously, you knew somebody that had the money and some backing and was interested in this type of, ownerships, which helps you out a lot.
Yes.
But what does that conversation look like? And like, how scared were you to actually just approach it and see how that conversation was even going to go?
Yeah, it's crazy because it was really the most easy conversation ever.
Was it really?
And I credit that to knowing him for maybe 6, maybe 12 months prior. Him and I, kind of a new relationship. I credit that to him knowing me and my personality.
It's awesome.
My drive, my ambition, and integrity, like that he can trust me.
It's awesome.
So it really was an easy conversation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like I'm thinking about doing this. And it was just, okay, cool. I can help.
Wild.
It's crazy.
I know, and I think that's super cool because obviously it's a true testament of who you are. But, again, it's just like one of those things where it's like you knew somebody.
Yeah.
They knew you. And a lot of that just had to come with, what were you personal training him or how did you get to know him?
Personal training.
Personal training.
Yes.
So he obviously understood like your passion, your drive, your love for this. And he probably understood like, hey, this girl's got it going on and I don't think she's going to take my investment and run with it and run this thing into the dirt,
Yeah.
Which is awesome for
It's
you.
cool. Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I've obviously totally indebted to him and, he gave me my start. And I remember him saying, when I asked him, like, why? Like, why did you just, so easily help someone out? And he said, because I wish somebody would have done the same for myself, years ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, I've always like, it's in me to hopefully that I can do the same.
Crazy.
In, several years, 10, 15 years down the road,
Yeah.
I can also help someone else out.
Yeah, we ask that question a lot. And I'll ask you it and then go into this. But like, what does success look like for you? Genuinely deep down.
It's changed a lot. I mean, I think when you're growing up, it looks like money and things.
Yep.
Right? And that is not it anymore. Like waking up comfortable, happy. And of course I could go into like what comfortable means. But I think it's like a peace within.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's success for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think like, because my vision of success is how do I help others? You know what I'm saying? Like I spent a lot of time in my industry doing home loans, like figuring out how do we get with agents? How do we get their business? How do we handle clients? How do we pitch clients on different loan scenarios? You know what I'm saying? We spent tons of years like getting coached and going through all that. And that was a huge thing for me. And now I've gotten to the point where it's like, it's not that I don't need to be coached, but I enjoy coaching at this point.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
It's almost like I take that 10-year span and how do I give back? And
I love that.
Kind of like what he's saying is he's just like, I just wish somebody would have taken the risk or the gamble on me because I would have probably proven them right.
Yes.
And a lot of times like I feel that way. Like I just wish somebody would have taken a gamble on me a little bit quicker because we probably could have done some big things a little bit faster.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
but
I agree.
I look back at life now and it's like, yeah, I wouldn't really change too much. You know,
yeah,
you
like
probably feel the
maybe,
same way.
maybe everything happened exactly the timing I needed to.
Yeah. So talk to me on how long have you owned the gym now?
Okay, so it'll be 5 years in February.
That's
what are we in
wild.
November? Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah,
Obviously
so almost 5 years.
Change the name to Lyft. Where does Lyft come from?
Yes. Oh, it was hard. I had
it
no
really?
idea because, branding something.
Yep.
Oh man, I feel like there's no names out there. Like, what do you name a gym? You want it to, the name to say what you're offering, right? And lift, lifting at the gym, passionate for lifting. Yeah, I don't know, it just came about. I think we had a few others, but
Yeah.
it just stuck.
I like Lyft though.
Yeah.
I won't lie.
It's easy. Yeah.
It's easy. It makes sense.
It does make sense.
So with opening the gym, like what's honestly the biggest headache of opening a gym? Obviously you've got to have trainers, you've got to have classes, you've got all the equipment.
Yeah.
Obviously you guys have showers, bathrooms, the whole 9 yards that you got to take care of too.
It's so much
Like,
much work.
What did you feel like was super overwhelming in the beginning where you just wish like, hey, I wish I would have known this a little bit quicker, or I wish I would have had a mentor to kind of help me in this specific space? What was the hardest part about opening the gym?
Okay, so when the gym left, they did just kind of leave, and I picked it up and really learned everything from scratch. I learned payroll and employees and taxes and everything with the state, and then maintenance of the entire building. Like my husband and I, we learned all of that ourselves.
Yeah.
From day one. So it's been an adventure, a lot of learning.
Yeah.
So that was a lot to take on.
What was the worst part of it?
I think we were lucky because the gym was already established. Right. Absolutely. I will not deny that.
Yeah.
Right. I think there was a little reputation to pick up from there. So that was challenging. Yep. And then as you're coming in, like the new people, like, I think a lot of our members were like, well, who are these people? What are they going to do? So I think, a lot of
Did you guys
eyes.
lose anybody from the start?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no, I think we like projected up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which was nice. I think people were wanting to know, like, are you guys staying around?
Yeah.
So we were almost having to prove ourselves.
Makes sense.
A lot of eyes on us.
Yep.
And so it was just like pressure every day.
Yep.
That turnaround. I think it was like the first full year to kind of just turn it around and like people could trust us.
I'll tell you one thing that my buddy owned a gym for a little while. That was a little teeny personal training gym, and he ruined me. But genuinely, Kim, the only reason I come to your gym, obviously it's because of you, Jake.
Oh, yes.
But
thank you.
Number 2, genuinely the reason I come here is because all the weights actually match.
Because they match, like
because
the color?
They match. Like it like people are gonna sit here and laugh at this.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but ever since my buddy had like a little teeny personal training gym, and when you walked in, like all the weights were red, all the plates matched the same, like it was all put together perfectly.
I love
right?
that.
And I remember going to like Golds or EOS or some stuff like that, and I just remember sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, this 45-pound weight that I'm trying to bench with is metal, and the other one on the other side is plastic. And I think they don't weigh the same.
Sure,
I know they do, Kim.
Sure.
I know they do. But for some odd reason in my brain, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
And so what I appreciate about the gym is like it always looks top notch.
Yes.
And genuinely, like I think that's why this gym is always so busy is just number one, A, the environment of what it looks like, but B, I think you guys have drawn a younger crowd. You and Jake being a part of this, walking around the gym saying thanks and hi to everybody. It's almost give more of like that, kind of our age level feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, you've got people that are younger and older that are coming in here too. But it always blows my mind how like kind of this crew around our age, just everybody comes here.
Yeah. And perhaps it's a demographic in Farmington. But I will say 2 things to that. There's nothing better than like a pretty gym. And I'm with you. Yes. And that's why like cleanliness is so huge for us. Yeah. Like it's spotless. And if there's a machine broken, like literally it keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
So like we're on it.
Jake's just got to get better at this.
Yeah,
fixing stuff. He needs to just be a full-time mechanic.
A full-time.
Talk to me on like personal training. Obviously, with you being a personal trainer, like what is probably the hardest thing for clients that come to you? Because like for myself, like I do the half-ass motion coming in through the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like I run on the treadmill, ride the bike, lift some weights. All of us in the back of our head know why we need a trainer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I feel like in my life is I'm just super busy all the time. And so like if I was to meet with you every Tuesday at, let's just say 10 a.m., odds are with my life, that's going to be a big coin flip if I can even make it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The beauty of it is the accountability.
Yeah. And so like for people that are looking for a trainer, or have it in the back of their head as to like, why would they hire a trainer? What would be kind of your advice to them to spend the money and actually do it?
Yeah. Okay. So accountability, like we just talked about, of course, like if it gets you going, right. The other thing is knowledge and experience, right? I think it goes a long way. And of course I can speak for myself because I've been doing this for 12 years and I have the extensive knowledge behind it. Just like in any trade, I think you are going to get what you pay for.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Which is beautiful. Because, I mean, you'd probably mimic this too. A lot of professional athletes, everybody that's kind of in their area always have a coach or a trainer or somebody kind of helping them out.
Yes.
What's, and I guess this question just popped in my head. Biggest weight loss you've ever seen on your clients?
Yeah. Close to 150 pounds.
Really?
Like on a single person?
Yeah.
Yes.
How long did it take?
Yeah. I worked with it was a male client several years ago. I believe we worked together for close to 2 years. Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, it was almost 150 pounds.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I'll never forget him.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me on like the macros. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it's huge with
It's huge.
you women.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I feel like some men have obviously jumped on board and understand the macro side of stuff. I won't lie, like getting onto MyFitnessPal after every meal and logging the right thing is just so annoying for me.
Yeah, it's daunting.
Like, it just kills me.
It can be. And
You know
I think it's like, where you're at in life. What are your goals? If they are very particular, maybe macro counting is the way you go, right?
Yeah.
But there are some methods and stuff that we can use.
Give me kind of an idea for somebody that like doesn't necessarily want to count macros.
Yes.
Like, what would be your advice to them as far, you hear of like intermittent fasting. You hear of people like not eating past 7 p.m. at night. You hear all these different do's, don'ts, don't eat breakfast or skip lunch and like just eat dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your advice to people as far as eating with training people and doing the whole macro thing for somebody that's not necessarily doing macros, but maybe looking at a different form? Like, what would be your one go-to to those people?
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, the good and bad thing about, the world we live in right now is the information, and there's a lot of it, which can be overwhelming, right? It can be really great. There's so much information you get on the internet or Instagram or whatever. There's so much coming at you that then it's overwhelming, right? It can be hard to like, oh, what do I do? So I think the biggest problem is people like jump around from methods too much. They jump exercises or programs.
Correct.
Or, calorie counting or whatever too much before they figure out what's going to work for them.
Yeah.
So one, your lifestyle. You have to consider your lifestyle, right? Yeah. Can you macro count? Do you want to get on MyFitnessPal every single night?
Yep.
If you don't, then that's not for you, right? Yep. There are other methods.
Yep.
Maybe we just add more activity into your day.
Yep.
Or just focus on protein, right? So there's other methods, but I think like being realistic is huge, right?
Yeah.
You can't do something that's completely out of your normal routine because it probably won't stick.
Yeah.
So maybe look at your life and see what's more realistic for you.
I'm going to go like in left field here, but don't you feel like a lot of the reason why people don't stick to this or try this or do this is just because like genuinely it's hard?
It's so hard.
You know what I'm saying?
It is so hard.
Like I genuinely don't know how people for like months and years can track their macros.
Yeah.
And I know people do it and they do it religiously and they do a great job. Like, my wife's done it for a very long time and she understands her body. She knows what she's got to eat. She really is like, with going through MyFitnessPal, understands like what she should eat and what she shouldn't eat and what time of the day she needs to eat. And now it's like, she can just do it by just living her day.
Totally, yeah.
You know
and
what
that's
I'm saying?
Amazing. Like if you get to that point where you really know yourself and you can intuitively eat, you've kind of hit the sweet spot where we all love to be. But it is so hard. I have that conversation with almost every single one of my clients. Yeah. Like it's losing weight or gaining muscle, like either side. Like this is super challenging. It's rough. It's hard. It can be hard.
I think for anything, like change is always hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like you go through soreness, you got to go through recovery, you got to do all this stuff. But what would be your advice to people that are like, maybe thinking about getting in shape or feel overwhelmed? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, where would you start if you were just somebody like looking to maybe get into the fitness game or have been around weights, but just not a lot and maybe don't necessarily have the money for a personal trainer? Like, what would be your advice to somebody that's like maybe just looking to get started?
Just looking into it. My advice would be take it small. Yeah. Like look at your day and maybe change one little thing. Yeah. Right. And then you compound that. Yeah. Don't take it all all at once. You're going to sign up for a gym membership, add a trainer, change your lifestyle, throw it all the candy. Right. Like if that is overwhelming. Yep. I think one thing at a time. Maybe you add an hour extra of sleep. Yep. Or you drink more water during your day.
Yeah. Which sounds so
It's so silly, but those little things matter.
I know.
They do, really.
I know.
So yeah, maybe it's not joining a gym yet. Maybe you go buy a set of dumbbells.
Yeah.
And you start there.
Yeah.
Like, don't overwhelm yourself. Right. Let it come. Like, yeah. And again, being realistic.
What's the joy of owning the gym?
Oh, the joy. I think I mentioned it earlier. Like, you get to come hang out at the gym every day. Yeah. That's pretty great. Like,
a lot of people.
Yes. And the people.
So I guess a question for you, because obviously, there's a lot of people around the same age kind of in this gym, give or take a couple years. There's a ton of classes going on here. It seems like a lot of people know a lot of different people here. You know what I'm saying? Does it seem like this is more of like a friendship type of gym? Are people, and I don't even know if you know this question, but does it feel like it's pretty awesome to network here and get to know people pretty easy?
I think so. And again, I may be biased because I'm here every day, but I've seen so many friendships flourish from here. Yeah. And even my own. I have friends that I've made here that will probably be lifetime friends for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you connect. There's something about the gym, and even when I was personal training, I kind of thought about this and focused on this. Like, there's something about being in the gym that makes you slightly vulnerable. Yeah. Right? And so I don't know if you connect on that vulnerability or connect on other things, of course, but you'll see people come in here and whether they're extremely bubbly or maybe a little more introverted, they seem to find their people. It's pretty amazing. I love that.
I think what's funny to me about the gym, right? Because you always come up with the mindset of like, here's my workout. I've only got an hour to be there and an hour and a half to get in and out. You know what I'm saying? And then you show up and then it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you blow like 40 minutes and you look at yourself and you're like,
you've done that.
I've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are. Yeah. It's like the double-edged sword, right?
Correct.
They want to see these people and you want to have these conversations because I think it's beyond the physical, right? Like the mental health of it, the friendships that you make, relationships are so important. So it's that.
And it's funny, like I feel like more people in the golf world come here and we talk about golf more than anything in this gym than anything. Like obviously I've got some people that I work with, some friends from back in high school and stuff like that it's funny just to kind of see and catch up. But what makes me laugh is I genuinely feel like the majority of things that get talked about, including your husband, is it's always golf. And I don't know why it's always golf, but we're always working on our swings. Yeah. We're always trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the gym's been obviously a great place to do that. I kind of want to pivot into your app.
Okay.
Like, why an app? Like, why did you do that? What was the concept behind it? What direction did you want it? What was the concept, I guess, to start? And then did you stay on course or did it kind of pivot?
Yeah. So I think like training programs and app possibility was always there for me years and years ago. So this January will be my 12th year of being a certified personal trainer, which is awesome. And it's been many, many years, wanting to do more. And then the gym came about, I purchased the gym, and that kind of swept me away from the training quite a bit. It took a lot of my time, which is fine. So I kind of pivoted to focusing more on that. And then this last year, I finally felt like I could breathe a little bit and focus back on like doing that because I love personal training. Yeah. We talked about our childhood earlier, and I was going to mention this. For me, I always wanted to be a teacher. Yeah. Like day one, I want to be a school teacher. Yeah. And then as I got older, I decided, no, I don't want to be around kids every day. Yeah. But now looking like at what I'm doing every day, like I am still a teacher. Yeah. So I think that was always within me. Like I wanted to teach people, like, guide them, like you said, help them. So anyway, now that I could, like this last year, I found just a moment where I could focus back on personal training. Then it all came,
And talk to me, like, obviously there's so many apps out there. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know if you call it funny. I don't know, like, what you want to call this. Because it almost seems like there's a lot of people out there now that have realized this is a little bit of a moneymaker and that aren't like actual certified personal trainers. It's almost like they're just showing you like their in-home workout of like lifting a ball or doing some straps.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't, I think this is going to be hard, but like if you were me, let's go with me. Because I'm definitely not one. Like, how would I know on like what app or what person is right for me? Because like it seems like everybody's got an app, everybody does it a different way. Like, what would be your advice on people that are looking to maybe join kind of one of those fitness apps and know that the person behind the camera genuinely A, knows their stuff, and B, is there to help you versus just take kind of your money each month and rah-rah you?
Yeah, it is tough. There are a lot of apps out there. And it's hard for me, going through the schooling that I have and all the experience that I have. Of course I support these people. Everyone connects with other people, right? And that's great. And number one above it all, like, I just want you to move your body and get healthy in whatever way that you want to. Correct. Number one, for sure. However, yes, I would say, if you're going out there to look for a trainer, ask them questions. What is your experience with people? Have you ever actually trained people in person? Because I think that's the next level, right? Training someone over online, just handing them workouts without really getting to know them. Have you ever done this face to face? Like, that's another element. That's another level of getting to know somebody and how the body works, right? Do you have any schooling in anatomy or physiology, right? I think that's like passed over too much because the body is very complicated and like person to person. Obviously everyone's going to be very different. So yeah, advice to you would be like, ask them questions, look into them, do they have any education? It's going to make a difference.
Correct. And I think that's obviously the power of social media. You get the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's easier for people that have a brand to basically kind of do their own thing and run with it in multiple different directions. And kudos to them because they're obviously doing something.
Yes.
And they're helping people move forward. And obviously that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think like when I think about your app, because obviously we were talking about it a little bit before, I've talked to you multiple times about it. Jake's talked to me tons about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why, most people kind of do, I think, like short sprints with people, you know what I'm saying, to help them kind of get results a little bit quicker. Like, I guess kind of expound on like why you chose the amount of weeks that you chose with your app and your challenges and what that's doing for people versus doing kind of these just like short little glimpses at stuff.
Yeah. My approach is not a 30-day approach because it's not. Like, your health and fitness journey, probably no matter what goal you have, is not a 30-day journey, right?
Yep.
So my approach is all about building habits, like changing you, like, exactly the way you need to be changed to like hit your goals.
Yeah.
So it's all about habits.
How many weeks you doing yours?
Oh, so I have a couple different options.
Okay.
My most popular is a 16-week challenge.
And why do you feel like that's the most popular?
16 weeks, I think it's a commitment level for some, right? Like, whoa, this isn't just 30 days, right? Like 16 weeks, like.
That's 4 months.
Yeah, it's 4 months,
That's
right? But it's not like so long that they feel committed forever, right? Like, I think I could do that.
And I think of like 16 weeks on like, how are you creating a program for 16 weeks? That's what I say. Think. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to do it for 30 days versus 16 weeks. But what are the results and the benefits out of the 16-week? Obviously, you said you've got a couple different programs, but like, why do you feel like that one's the most popular?
Yeah, 16 weeks. Again, I think, the commitment level, right? Like it's not just 30 days, but it's not forever as well. Yeah. Like they feel like they can do that. And then I believe like the value that I add to it. Yeah. Right. They have me to chat with the entire time.
Crazy.
They can reach out any moment. Like my app is available to like open messenger through my app, right? So they can ask any questions at any time.
Awesome.
So I do tailor it to them.
Yeah. So I want to expand a little bit more on your app because like there's so many apps that are out there. Like you can honestly go with anybody right now. Like Kim, my question is why you? Like why your app?
Okay. Number one, like my experience, my education, my knowledge. It's more than just stringing exercises together, right? There's an efficient way to do it to get the results that you want. So the cool thing about my app is, every direction you need is in there. When you log on, it gives you your workout of the day. You push go, it gives you every single video, your reps and weights, suggested weights.
So I love it. So it's going to actually show me what the actual repetition. So if you say like, I don't know, some weird squat, like it's actually going to show me the video, so I don't have to sit there and Google it and figure out like what is this Roman whatever.
Yeah, and it's me or Jake in the videos. We've filmed everything, so you can see form, which is really great. You can substitute the exercises, so maybe perhaps you're not in this gym and you don't have that specific machine. You can substitute it out. Yes, so other options. And the other really cool thing is it tracks everything you do. So if you come in and you do 50 pounds on your overhead press, per hand, you're going to enter in 50 pounds. Yep. It's going to log your weight every single time you do that exercise so that you're always progressing. So next week when you come back and do that overhead press, you can look back and see, hey, I did 50 pounds. Can I do 55?
Is 50 still heavy?
Is 50 still heavy?
It always is still
yes.
heavy.
So it prevents that plateauing. And I know progressive overload is kind of this buzzword, going around on Instagram right now. But the app it's kind of built in there, right? So that you can see what you've done so you know where you're going.
Love it.
It's amazing.
Love it. And then obviously we're saying a little bit like you've got the macros in there that you can track as well.
Yes.
They've got, basically you can DM you anytime they want.
Yep.
So Jake, better watch out.
Yep. My messenger is open all the time. And I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. Like I feel like I am a lot on my computer and phone. But it's good. Like that's what it is. I'm here to help people and I want people to be able to message me.
Love it. Cause genuinely, like, I think that's from my point of view, like that's what I want, like even my team, when I say my team, like the people that help me with my social media and doing these podcasts and doing these videos, like we've been talking about, there's a huge need for like people to do reels. Like, how do you post content? How do you even make content? Like we were chatting about it a little bit earlier. Like, I just bought a camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Kim, what do you do with the camera?
Yeah.
And everybody, I think, has a vision and they want to learn. And the one thing that we've been hashing out, and it's just funny because we were hashing this conversation out today, which is what I love about you is you're teaching them, but there's always this support system, which is really the brand. They're joining it because you are the brand. You know what I'm saying? And you're the support system, and that's what they're trying to get. That's who they want to be. That's who they want to be with. That's who they want to be coached by, and that's why they're paying you the money. But I also love, like, Kim, and I don't mean this really, like, I don't want to talk to you every day when I come in and work out. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So that's the benefit of having the app, understanding how to lift the weights, logging everything, what I'm going to eat. And then, once I get home and I want to put a ton of butter on everything, I'm just going to DM you and be like, does this fit my macro plan? And you're going to tell me
no.
Or
just don't log it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like you have more success on the app side of stuff versus in-person stuff?
Oh man, that's a hard answer. Yeah. Because I've seen both. I've seen really, really great results from both. So the in-personal training, my defense is like you have a friend in the gym, right? Now you have someone that will take you around that like maybe you didn't feel confident to do so, right? And a lot of those, clients that we have never been in the gym before. Yeah. So to have a friend that guides you around and says this is what you're going to do, they don't have to think about it. That's amazing.
Great idea.
Right? Yes.
Probably introduce you to some other people. It's probably a great way to get started.
Yeah. And then on the app, I think it depends on the person. Like if you are really self-driven and can follow something like that, it works really well. And then, you don't have to be with someone. You can just come in and really do your own thing, but you still have something to follow.
Yeah, which is awesome. I know. See, my mind's weird, Kim.
It's not weird.
You know what I'm saying? No, but I think the one takeaway that I'm looking for is like, what's your advice to people that are looking to start? And not like, let's just not say a gym or let's not say an app, right? Like if they have a passion or kind of have a desire to do stuff, like what would be your advice to them to A, get started, and B, kind of continue to see where that plays itself out? Yeah,
just move forward. Like act, opportunities, meet people, talk, venture in different things, right? Maybe you go internship with something you find, I don't know, that's interesting to you. Yeah. Right? You can't just sit and expect things to happen.
Do you feel like you're a yes person? Like if an opportunity arises, are you like, yeah, I'm all over it? Or are you kind of like, let me think about this for a couple days? That's my question, Kim. That is my question.
I think as I've gotten older, I'm a little less of a yes person than I was maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. Which is awesome because 10 years ago, you needed experience. You needed opportunity.
Yeah.
And so when something kind of hits you in the face, it's like, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now that we get a little bit older, like I said, I think there's a little bit more risk. You got to be a little bit more calculated. But at the end of the day, you're probably still going to say yes.
Probably yes. Probably yes. Because it's like, well, if I don't, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the harm?
So, Kim, I got a question for you. Like, obviously, you've been doing this a little while. You've trained a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Give me some of like, and I don't know if it's a review. I don't know if it's a thank you. I don't know what it is exactly. But like, you probably find a lot of joy in people getting healthy. Can you share some of like the experiences of people like coming back to you and being like, hey, you trained me 4 years ago and this has helped me do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Do you have any stories like that at all?
Yeah, I have a few. And like right off the top of my head, it's a few clients that I know that still come to the gym and work out. Yeah. That were terrified before, right? They first come to me like, I could never be out on the gym floor and lift those weights. And then, we train for a bit, whatever. And then they just like radiate with confidence after. Which is so cool. And they're still working out. It's so cool. Yeah. And then they can do it all on their own, which they never thought they could.
I know. And it's funny, like, I think there's a lot of outside pressure in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all obviously worry about what we look, the way we dress, and all that stuff. And I'm a firm believer, like, the gym gives people a lot of confidence, you know, because, like I said earlier, it's like not everybody wants to just be, you know, kind of out of shape. Everybody's trying to work to be in shape.
Yeah, everyone wants to feel good.
Feel amazing.
Feel good. People want to feel good. Yeah.
I know, Kim. I ate like crap over the weekend, and like yesterday it
hit
me. You know what I'm saying? It was like
we can recover.
We were out of town for work, and it was like everybody wanted to go out to eat on every meal, and then it just adds up real quick. But when you eat like 9,000 calories in the day, it adds up pretty fast, Kim. You wouldn't have been happy with my macros, you know. So, what does this look like for you and Jake moving forward? Like what's kind of the plan? I mean, would you ever want to expand? Are you guys like, no, this is our little baby, and like expansion's not happening? I love the app. I would love to explore kind of the internet side of stuff. What would you guys, you know, if it was a perfect world and you can kind of move forward in the next couple years, what would be the direction that you and Jake or just yourself would love to like scratch the itch on?
Yes. Okay. So app wise, I absolutely want to continue expanding on the app. I think there's so many things that I can level up on.
Yeah.
And a few things that I'm really excited to like get out there. So
yeah,
the app for sure I'm going to keep going with.
Awesome.
As far as the gym, yeah, I think expansion is exciting. Like, yes, perhaps.
I talked to you.
Scary.
I'm going to drop it again.
A little bit.
South Weber. It's the perfect place.
It is the perfect place.
Just come on down, spend a couple $1 million and just get it built.
$2 million.
It's nothing, Kim.
That's it. The money,
That's it.
right? Yes.
But you're close to Mountain Green. Yeah. Everybody out of South Ogden. Yeah. Everybody coming up out of Riverdale.
Yeah.
People out of Layton. Like, nobody wants to go to EOS. Nobody wants to go to Ogden Athletic Club.
Yeah. We need some other options.
We need some more options. So,
and I think
expand north.
The risk and reward.
Always.
That's the trade-off. You know, what is the risk? What's the reward?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I do this again?
Does it scare you?
Only a little.
Only a little, which I love.
Only
You've done it all. You've done it before, Kim. You can do it
I'm
again.
confident I could do it again.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think one last thing that you would like to say to everybody, what would be like your ultimate life advice? You know, like what's that one thing that like Kim lives by, or, you know, like one saying that you absolutely love to say that you tell your clients or whatever that looks like? Like what's one last thing that you just want to like tell everybody?
Yeah, I think everything is figure-outable.
That's crazy. We haven't heard that one yet. Yeah. I love it. Which is so true.
It is.
Because I feel like there's enough people that have already done stuff before us that have the blueprint, and it's just, how do you get with them? How do you get mentored by them? Yeah. How do you hang out with them? How do you get in their inner circle? Like, how do you surround yourself with those type of people? And just like you, it's like you were here working, you had the opportunity to buy the gym, you took advantage of the opportunity, and you've met a lot of great people during the way. You know? So, no, awesome, Kim. I've loved spending time with you.
Thank you.
Obviously, I know you got to get back to training, so don't want to take too much time. But genuinely, like, thanks for taking time, and I'm excited that we had you on.
Thanks, Rhett.